Okay, we should be live. I'll just do a quick check on YouTube.
I have the YouTube thingy open as well.
Awesome. Hey, folks on YouTube, if you can just quickly confirm if you're live on chat, if the AV is clear, and then we can get started.
Hello, folks. Good evening. We're just again doing one round of tech check to make sure that our video is fine, which is why Jatin and I are, I think either ways on the video screen. We will get better at this. My YouTube dummy screen is on this place.
Yeah.
And my camera is here. So too for Jatin. I think you're going to see a little bit of this here and there.
Yes.
Yeah, we are on live. We are live on YouTube.
Okay. Awesome. But yeah, folks still on chat, just confirm. I mean, like, I don't know. I have this thing with YouTube. Till I get like chat response, I'm never sure.
Yeah.
Let us know. Oh, there you go. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I think the chat responses are coming in. Yeah, we're good. Hello, folks. So we had our July All India mock, which was rather good. I quite enjoyed once again solving a bunch of these questions and kind of creating them. So I had lots of fun with the LRDI and Quant. I'm sure Jatin will jump in and chime in and say, look, verbal is way cooler than these two sections, which indeed perhaps it is. So we had fun. Every time, for me, a weird parallel litmus test for how good a mock is do I really enjoy solving it when I solve it back, not when I'm creating the questions. So we create the questions and then have a break and then solve the questions. If I find it still I'm still enjoying it, if I'm still having fun, then I'm very happily good to go. I quite enjoyed it. So I rather enjoyed the Quant and LRDI. I thought the paper was more representative than the one we did in June. The June Quant was CAT 2023 level plus a shade higher, whereas the July Quant is CAT 2023 and a shade and a half easier, which is what I think this year will be. I think they're making a shift, or they're making a thing where they're trying to make Quant a little tougher or a little trickier, non-obvious, not formalized, not easy, not straightforward, not on a platter with just plug in formula, get 10 questions right. I think they're shifting from that era, but I think 2023 was anomalously tough, and I'm hoping that 2024 is not like that. Having said that, caveat tempter, I know Jatin is chomping at the bit to say, look, don't say stuff like that. And so we're at best, we're hazarding a guess. The best case scenario is we're having a pot at it. It's very important to do mocks with a variety of difficulty, variety of formats, so that you don't get conditioned to one thing. And then you have to have the ability to wing it on the day, where you say, hey, we can manage it any which way. And so rough cut, the CAT 2023 levels of difficulty versus this mock. This mock Quant was simpler, but the other two sections were more or less the same. So over to you, Jatin, for one overview of verbal.
Yeah, sure. I think before I get into verbal, just one point from my side, general point. I was some of the 2IIM students got back to me saying, this mock was a nightmare. You should have put some easier questions. It's hitting my confidence. One of them even said that one of their friends attempted this mock, and because of this mock, they've dropped their plans to appear for CAT 24, right? So I'm like, listen, I understand that. I understand from a student's perspective. Of my student life was 20, 25 years ago, but I still remember. I get that. I get that perspective. But you can. It's a mock at the end of the day, right? I mean, you cannot make any mock in the world will never come very close to the CAT exam, right? The CAT exam will still throw surprises at you. These mocks are for practice. These mocks are for you to build your skill, right? Yes, they are important, but more than the score, it's the analysis that is important, right? And don't take such a huge hit if you get a low score saying that I'm going to drop my CAT 24 plans. Right? I mean, I know that's an exceptional situation, but still, if the mocks are tough, I think that's a good thing. You'd rather have a tough mock than a tough actual exam, right? Remember, this is preparing you this is net practice, right? Look at me using cricket analogies. So
yeah.
Rajesh's influence and our World Cup win. But you'd rather give tougher mocks so that if the actual paper is easy, great. You can hit a 6 there. Another cricket analogy. So listen, don't get so sort of demotivated by these things. Even if you've gotten a low score, first wait for the percentiles. You'll get a relative idea, and then put all your energies into analyzing the mock.
I think गाड़ी अभी शुरू हुआ है.
Exactly.
It's we're in July. And
yep.
I don't know if I told you this, when we guys used to start, we used to start preparing grudgingly in August. And so it used to be a 3-month preparation. We don't know it's a 15-month preparation, which is nice because you learn tons more stuff. You get more comfortable. You guys are frightfully sharp before the exam, way better than we ever were. And so, which is nice. And you do lots of mocks, take it seriously. There are tons of things going for you, and all very appreciable, very fantastic, and really beautiful. Don't take these knocks as such that they mean a lot. Be sure your scores can more than double from here.
Yep, for sure.
Lovely.
For sure.
I'm going to, yep, over to you, John. Should I share the screen and go over the percentile?
In the meantime, I'll just answer. Gokul, percentiles and solutions will be available tonight. Okay, so we will let you know. If you are a non-2IIM student who registered for the mock, you'll get an email. 2IIM students, we will inform you on the WhatsApp group, but they will be available tonight. Okay. All right, great. So yeah, Rajesh, over to you. I'm just going.
I have shared the screen. Is it working there? Is my screen visible?
It is visible. I'll put off my video so that you're visible, and then I'll come back later.
Lovely. So lovely, folks. Now that the screen is visible, I've just given you a set of overall ideas here. I am going to be looking left and right. My camera is here. My screen is here. So that's going to be a little bit of an anomaly. Don't worry about it. The 100 percentile number is irrelevant. It's usually one of those things that have very few data points by definition, right? So one guy can anomalously have a good day, and then it can skew the 100 percentile number left, right, and center. So that's not a relevant number. The 99.5 is rather more representative. That would have been at 84, 85 marks in actual CAT 2023. In our case, it will be 95 marks. Remember, 99.5 percentile is kick-ass. It's properly extraordinary. It gives you all the calls of all the relevant colleges. If you see IIM, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, you're in the mix for pretty much everything if you're north of 99.5. So it's not a modestly good score. It's an absolute kick-ass score. That will be 94, 95 marks in this mock. The 99th percentile, which opens plenty of doors, gives you options for everything, would have been at the 80 mark level. 95th percentile at 55 marks and 80th percentile at 35 marks. 80. So you've got calls from all the new IIMs, baby IIMs at 60 marks. Calls from a slew of colleges at 80 marks, and that's the overall number. The differentiating factor vis-a-vis CAT 2023 for this mock, we have a benchmark and you're comparing vis-a-vis that. Then at every level, there were more quant marks to be had in July mock, this mock, than was available in CAT 2023. CAT 2023 quant was tough, really properly, irritatingly, unimaginably tough. And I'm just padding adjective. Jatin must be squirming, right? But the other two sections were fine. So too was this. In this exam, the the quant of our July mock was tough, challenging, but not dispiritingly tough like CAT 2023. I'm going to go to the section-wise percentile thing. Like the VARC, again, the 100 percentile number, forget about it. The 99.5, so at 44 marks in 2023 CAT, ours should have been 47 marks, give or take a couple of marks up and down. So it was not noticeably easier, nor was it noticeably tough. Almost all the percentiles are in sync with actual CAT, which really speaks to the quality of our verbal faculty. Created a mock which is representative, very much like the 2023 edition. So 99.5 at 45 marks, give or take. 99 at 39 marks, which is just tough. If you're flirting with the 48, 50 marks in verbal, you're flying. The 95th percentile is 27 marks, which again is not easy. The 80th percentile would be at 17 marks. You get 6-7 questions right without much wrong, and you're clearing the verbal cutoffs. LRDI, forget the 100 percentile number. 99.5 is 30 marks, which is effectively 2 sets. And that's been the benchmark for a long time. You get 2 sets right, you're flying. You're flirting with the absolute top-notch thing. So 99.5 percentile at 2 complete sets. I usually like to look at what does one complete set give me. One complete set gives you 93, 94th percentile, which has also been the norm in the last few years for LRDI. So this is 2 complete sets. The 94, 95 somewhere here is one complete set. Take one set, solve it, get all 5 questions right in 40 minutes. Then you're at 93, 94%. Only about 7-8% people, less than that, get one set completely right in LRDI. That's been the norm, or the norm the last couple of years. It continues to be the case, at least for our mock. Quant, again, forget about the 100 percentile. 99.5 would be at 44 marks, which is give or take 15 correct answers, which is tough. But so too is getting 99.5 percentile. 99.5 percentile is really, really tough. So if you have to be in the mix for that kind of numbers, then you have to get 14, 15 questions right. We're going to discuss the paper. We're going to discuss the kind of questions that are seen in the that were there. And I'm going to see if I can figure out a mechanism to really pick 14 questions from here to attempt. My gut feel is you should be easily able to pick 10 to 12. And with a little bit of struggle, go to 14, 15. The 10 to 12 marks takes you to 98, 99%. 12 questions, all correct is 99 percentile. 10 all correct is 96, 96. So this mock quant was definitely easier than the actual CAT 2023 paper. That simply does not mean that it was easy. Easier than 2023 quant is like saying less ferocious than the tiger. Yeah, you're really saying something, but you're not really saying anything. And so there are few things that were tougher the last 15 years in terms of the difficulty level in CAT than the CAT 2023 quant. So it was so weirdly, unimaginably tough. And so this quant was tough, but not in that way. And super, done the difficult, the percentile analysis part. I'm going to stop sharing, and then we can have a conversation, continue with that, and then answer maybe a few questions, and then see if we can continue with our discussion. I'm trying to locate my own YouTube screen so that I can see the questions. Fire away. Whatever questions you have, fire away. Lovely. Are bank PO questions relevant for CAT? Abdul Kumar, no. The CAT questions are way tougher than bank PO. Bank PO questions are speed monsters in standard templates. CAT questions is very difficult to even put them in a template. Do you think this time pattern will change as Calcutta as paper setter? I don't think so. I think they usually communicate even the pattern. They give the release in second week of August. They say this many questions, that is a number of hours, all of that. I've been hoping for the last 2 years for them to revert to a 3-hour paper. It's not happening. Even I've given up on it. So it's going to.
I'm of the same school of thought. If it's a 3-hour, I think I'd love to experience that, because I came into this industry when it started with a 2-hour.
So you brought the 2-hour thing in.
I brought COVID also. No, but 3-hour. I mean, you get time to breathe in a 3-hour paper, right? 2-hour is just too intense. But I don't think it's working for them now. So it's kind of like they've optimized it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. LRDI was but difficult than CAT 2022. Yeah, perhaps yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps yes. A bit difficult than 2022. Yeah, perhaps yes. The LRDI was not easy. When I initially set the thing and put it in there, I thought it was easier than typical CAT. It was not. It was doable, but freakishly, ridiculously time consuming. Like you have to be top of your game and be careful about time. So I cannot imagine who are the guys who can solve 3 sets in this LRDI paper. Super tough.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, although I know nothing about DLR, but I was looking at the stats. I was crunching the stats, right? DLR was definitely, stats are also saying the same thing. It was definitely tough. But again, like kudos to, as Rajesh said, there are some people obviously, who've done really well. So if you've done well, I think if you're able to like solve 2 sets or 3 sets, I mean, that's like crazy performance. So well done on that.
And also for the record, if some of the guys have done well and you're hearing about them now, it's okay to hate them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fine. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying sometimes
No,
it's
fair enough.
sometimes you see like someone just waltzing through a paper. It is it puts a smile on your face, saying, look, it's like, oh my god, this guy got 43 marks in this paper, must be a freaking genius. And then a couple of times we hear the same guy getting top scores and like, look, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you. The world, we're living in different worlds, and it depresses me to know that somebody can score this high in that paper. It's all right, sometimes it's all right to feel bad about some of these instances.
Yeah, I'll give you one way out of this. If you're getting like pissed off at these people, right, who are scoring like really good scores consistently, just assume that nothing else in their life is working out. And overall, you have a fantastic life.
I think they're going to say we're never going to sit to a session where these guys are talking out of it. I'm saying hate people. You're saying that guy must be depressing.
just assume and move on. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to share my screen and then go through the LRDI and Quant sections.
Yep.
And then hand over back to Jatin for verbal. I'm going to say, hey, how this works. What can we do with this one? Once again, I'm going to wait a little bit to make sure that I can get some confirmation that the screen share has indeed worked. You're able to see my thing. Yeah, lovely. It is working. I can see it on my dummy screen. There are 4 LRDI sets. I'm going to take very simple decisions and say, hey, towers standing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H all on a straight line, not necessarily in that order, blah, 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 blah. I really liked this set. And so the problem for me was, oh my God, it was out of whack on timing. I quite enjoyed solving this. This was a good clue. The heights are given. There's nothing that is 60 meters tall. C is the tallest, B and F are the shortest. It all kind of made sense. And visualizing the thing and saying, hey, I can, where are these towers indeed? Where are they standing? How tall is one? How tall is the second one? And then drawing that and then figuring out different sequences. It was quite a lot of fun actually. But imagining towers and then saying, hey, from H, can I actually look at C, even though there is A in between? Where you have to think about similar triangles and say, hey, can I really see this? That part of this is unnervingly time consuming. And so the first set, my suggestion, if I had been in taking the exam, this is not something that I'm going for in round 1. I like it, but it's not easy marks. And it is time consuming. It's incredibly tough to take that decision. Therefore, I would have said, look, don't go for it. Don't try this right up front. See if there is another juicy, more straightforward. This one, for me, it's right up my alley. Why? Because I like the mathematical puzzles. I like that there is a set thing. I really like the fact that they talked about subset. Nothing to do with subsets actually, but they spoke about it. I like the fact that average is an integer for some different sets. The average is not an integer for some. I love the fact that they've told us this sample has 2 modes. I like thinking about mean, median, mode. I like the idea of grappling with data points. There are 15 data points and 9 numbers. Right, my kind of number. There are 28 data sets, and I get bored. I get confused. If there are 8 constraints, I get confused. This tells me that there's tons of inferences to be drawn, these 3 constraints. And there are only 3 constraints. I understand this set. I have to come back to just these 3 things. Those really work for me, especially if they are math linked. But if you're not comfortable with thinking about mean, median, mode, you're not comfortable thinking about data sets and sets, you're not a mathematics person, and you really like the data intensive puzzle, not a math linked puzzle, then you're better off skipping this. But this is the juiciest set. Still time consuming, still difficult, tons of data to fill in, but I would go for this. We'll go for it and happily have a crack. This one. This again, so nice question, but one thing that threw me off is this is a rounded off to the nearest integer. That's a pain. And so you round off something, then there's ambiguity. I cannot say whether something is 16. I have to say it could be 15 or 16. I cannot infer to one number. I'll always have to say it could be 23 or 24, 88 or 89. I have to keep that open. So this was a big turn off for me as far as this set was concerned. This again is doable, but severely time consuming. So many iterative points that you had to hit up and then verify and do this. So again, I would have probably skipped this when I'm doing this, trying to do this set, because it takes a lot of time to grab onto and count it. Keep filling data sets. Lots of data sets get fixed. And then in the end, I still come back with two possibilities. And then with a lot of difficulty, eliminate one, then answer questions. It's time consuming. So the third one would have been a 50-50 for me. The fourth one, typically as it goes, this is probably the simplest. This again has math in it. This again talks about a ratio. Everywhere there's ratio. There's a 38, there's a 37, there's a 28:9, there's a 6:13, there's a 7:5. There are equal numbers. There's a 1:1:1 across categories. Half the number, total equal. It's completely got to do with ratios. If you're comfortable just figuring out ratios and solving them, you know that this does not involve fancy math. This involves ratio and tracking. Sometimes this kind of set really gets me going, because I'm like, I know that I can sit and camp on this and spend 23 minutes, but get 5 questions right in the bag. So in a difficult set, I go for the more reliable. Difficult paper, I want to go for the more reliable thing. You do this, you get 5 questions in the bag, you're on to 94th percentile. You've cleared all forms of section cutoff and you're flying. Right? This was also not easy, because you filled and you filled and you filled. And then finally, there's still variables sitting there, which is all right, but it's a doable set. Right? Just to take stock, I would have done the last one, the ratio one, for sure. And then if I had bandwidth, I would have gone for the mean median one thing. Those are the two that are doable for me. But for the more general audience, the last one is a doable one, and the last but one. One of the other three, any one of the other three is the triable one. The last one with ratios is the one in the back. That's the one you should be going for. And so 5 questions getting right here in this paper is doable. Getting 10 right is super tough. Which also why getting 10 right and getting 30 marks would have taken you directly to the 99.5 percentile range, which is so should ratified. Lovely. Now I'm going to go on to Quant. Set up the Quant thing. Just give me a second. I'm going to open up the Quant thing. Have a look at the chat window for that, and then open up Quant. Give me a second. Close this. Give me a second. Just hang on there. Share again. There we go. What I'm going to do much quicker. I'm going to solve this, and each time I'm going to say, hey, yes, no, maybe. Right? X minus 2, X minus 4, X minus 8, and X minus 16, all the way to X minus 1024. How many integer values are there? This is a yes for me. I love this, but I'm putting it as a kind of later, because inequalities is not a topic that is preferred for people. Right? I would love this. If I like this paper, I'm taking this and putting money in it. Fine. This one, functions. I'm going to first say the simplest ones. Again, it's doable, but I'm not going to do this. This is time consuming. I'm going to skip. Sets and subsets, number of elements, I'm going to skip. This is a super doable question. Funnily enough, this is a question that had maximum error rate in our paper. Jatin found this out and said, hey, this one has maximum error rate. It blew my mind that people have got a number of these questions wrong. These are super common, super frequently tested, and really piece of cake. All of you should get super comfortable with this. I'm not going to change my mind just because the error rate is high. I'm going to double down on this and say all of you should be getting this right. One question so far. Again, doable, but I'm not discussing this. This is doable, but I'm not touching this, not in round 1. So all of these will be like for later. This can be done, simple profit and loss, not straightforward, but hey, can be done. Doable, quadratic equation, b square minus 4ac, nothing more than that. 3 questions. Doable, but time consuming. Let's say we'll hypothetically leave this. Oh, look at the choices. We don't want to touch this. Again, choices are bad. We don't want to touch this. Again, let's coordinate geometry, triangle, all kinds of things. We're leaving this. Quadrilateral diagonals. We're leaving this. Looks juicy, but a super tough question. Better off left. Oh, this is doable. Nice and simple. You should have done this. That is 4 questions. Long last, we have come to 4 questions. We skipped quite a few in the middle. Super doable, very regular, in the bag 5 questions. Beautiful question, but tough. Let's assume we're not doing this. Beautiful question, but counterintuitive. Let's assume we're not doing that. Oh, this is a laddu. This will come under laddu category. I don't know whether I'll spell laddu with 2 Ds or 1 D. And should definitely be done. 6 questions. And anomalous for this paper. Beautiful question. Chances are permutation combination not an easy topic. We'll leave that. This definitely we're doing this. Keep your wits with you. You're taking and putting money in the bag. Questions in the bag. So in round 1, very doable. There are 7 questions. Now I'm going to push and see whether we can do some more. If you're comfortable with any form of algebra inequalities, this can come in round 2. Super doable. If you have the right funda, you're answering this in half a minute. This is still time consuming. You'll probably still skip this because of the timing part. This is very doable. If you know any form of permutation combination, you can try this. 3 more questions. This you've already done. This is a lot of fun. Doable. Doable. Arithmetic progression, write the formula, solve for n, methodically crack it. Time consuming, but doable. This you've already done. This you've already done. This is doable. Solve Pythagoras equations. Pythagoras theorem, plug in Pythagoras theorem, solve for x. Nothing more than that. Let's say we still skip this because it's trigonometry, there's angle of elevation, angle of depression, all kinds of things, and the choices are not friendly. Nor here, choices are not friendly. This is a fun question, but perhaps we need to understand ideas of in-center. One big funda is involved here, tested here. If you don't know that funda, you can't unlock this question. Let's say we skip this. This we have already done. This we have done. This could have been tried. This could definitely have been tried. Beautiful question. We have the laddu at the end. So in round 2, you can do 5 more questions. 12 questions takes you to 99 plus very comfortably. 7 questions take you to a wonderful percentile. 12 takes you home really. But if you want to do more than that, then at that point of time, you've got to say, I'll do this inequalities question. I'll definitely try this quadratic equation, this line linear equations in 2 variables question. I can get it right. I should have the ability to do the more hardcore geometry questions. We just take you there. This one, little bit of trigonometry, doable. Little bit of mensuration, doable. In center, in radius, doable. Quadrilateral with 2 diagonally opposite triangles that share the same AOD and BOC. What is this? A beautiful property with related to that, but doable. Once you know the property, doable. There's one more from geometry that was also doable. This one, doable. Similar triangles, area, formula, doable. If you really want to say, look, I want to have a mechanism to go beyond 99.4, 99.3, then you can't have Banker topics that you don't like at all. Not possible. If you want to flirt in that area, in that range, then you can't say, look, I don't do geometry, I don't do inequalities, I don't do functions, I cannot do set theory with questions. You cannot have a Banker spot that you simply don't want to touch. That doesn't work at all. So that 7 questions you can find on this paper. 12, second iteration you can find. And beyond that, going to 15, 16, 17, then you have to go towards the trickier ones in geometry or trickier ones in number systems or permutation probability, something there. No two ways about it. This paper is not impossibly tough to find the 7, but the 7 questions that we tried, almost every student was kind of prepared, can attempt those 7, and get them right in 3 to 4 minutes each maximum. Now we can get done in 2 minutes. So if your decision making is super powerful, you keep on skipping, you can put those 7 in the bag by 25 minutes. And then you're saying, hey, nice, I've got this. This is brilliant. I have 15 more minutes. Can I get 4 more questions? You get that 11 or 12 questions, you're at 99 percentile plus and sailing in. But if you want 99.5, 99.6, then you cannot afford to say, look, I won't do the trickier one in geometry, trigonometry, mensuration. I'm afraid of root 3. I'm afraid of inequalities with x minus 2, x minus 4, x minus 8. I'm afraid of f of a plus b, f of a into f of b. That kind of setting, you can't say that. You have to mix in those waters. You want to get to 99.6, 99.7. Somebody is saying how to attend mock. I was exhausted before taking mock itself, having plenty of water. Attack that. I'm going to hand over to Jatin to give you guys a snapshot of the verbal part of the paper.
Right.
Over
Also,
to you,
Rajesh, there's one question if you want to take it up from Gokul,
Yeah.
saying he's talking about before the exam day, but if you have any tips for that.
First of all, there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
We're 5 months away from it. But closer to the exam day, you should eat well, sleep well, get to a good rhythm. Lots of time people prepare for very long hours, and then they get into what usually referred to as sleep debt. Going into an exam center with some amount of sleep debt is a pain, especially given the last day you're not going to be able to sleep much. So amping up your physically being present and intense on the day is super crucial. So eat well, sleep well, drink a lot of water, train like athletes. Don't train like laid back elderly mock takers. And to train like athletes to be at kind of optimum performance, make sure that you're raring to go and fighting like that. But for that, you need to eat well, sleep well, drink lots of water.
And for sleep, I mean, again, this is just a suggestion, right? Look up. These are natural supplements. Look up melatonin. Just look it up again. And again, if you're going to try that, don't directly try it like one day before the exam. Try it before. It helps me. When I can't sleep, if I take like a melatonin tablet, I can just get knocked out, and it's very natural. So look it up and get used to it before, if you're planning to use it before the exam. Yeah, but you can look it up. Not an advertisement for melatonin, by the way.
Lovely. I'm going to over to you, Jatin. You can pick it up and have a crack at it.
Sure. Thank you. All right, folks. So quickly on verbal, right? As Rajesh has already shown you the numbers, I think verbal was I wouldn't say verbal of this All India mock was very difficult. I think it was at CAT standards, right? In fact, I would say it was pretty much at the 23 level, and 23 VRC was not difficult. Okay, if you compare it with other years, of course, by CAT standards are high, but 23 VRC as compared to 22, 21, 20 was not difficult. And I think this mock was pretty much at the level of 23. Okay, one thing specifically I want to talk about is passage selection, right? And I'll tell you where a lot of you might have gone wrong. Let me just present and I'll show you something. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen. I think you can. Now see this particular passage, right? I'm not going to discuss the passage. Of course, if you've attempted the mock, you'll get a detailed video explanation of this. There was an architecture passage, right? This one that you're seeing on the screen, and this was the first RC of the exam, right? First RC of the VRC section. Now, when I looked at the statistics, right, among the top 3 difficult questions, the top 2 were from architecture passage, and this passage is very complex. If you look at the content of the passage, it is abstract in nature, it is complex language, and the questions are tricky as well. The remaining 3 passages, if you see in terms of passage content alone, they are much more manageable than this architecture passage. Okay, and you would have seen that as well. There's a passage on free speech, there's a passage on adoption, there's a passage on checkouts. In terms of passage content, way more manageable than architecture, which was very complex in terms of abstract language and abstract content. And this was the first RC. I deliberately put it in front in the beginning because I wanted to see how many students skip this and go to the other RCs. But when I look at the attempt rate, a lot of you have attempted this passage. Now, my question to you is, see, if you're comfortable with this content, great, awesome, kudos to you. But my hunch is most of you did not find this passage manageable. Most of you are not comfortable with this kind of abstract content. So my question is then, why did you attempt this passage? Right? And now this is where I can give you a tip. See, when you're looking at passages, right, you start, one of the best ways to sort of select passages is you start reading a passage. When you come to the 40%, 50% mark, now in this case, let's say when you come to the 4th paragraph, ask yourself, do I have a handle on the main point so far? So far, do I know what is the author's main message? What is the author's main idea? If the answer is yes, you can continue. But you're like, okay, I reached the fourth paragraph here, 40, 50% mark, and I have no idea about the main idea. I can't understand head or tail of this passage. Then why did you go ahead? You should have left it and you should have gone to the next passage. And then you would have realized the other passages are much more simpler in terms of content. So my point is, don't get stuck on passages. Around the 40, 50% mark, evaluate if you have a handle on the main idea. If you don't, leave it and go to the next one. You can come back to it if you have time, right? But again, this is something that you'll have to practice. It's not easy, right? Because you're like, your mind tells you I've spent 4 minutes reading the passage. Then why? How can I waste this? I have to continue reading. That's sunk cost fallacy, right? Drag yourself away. And this is a skill that you will have to develop in mocks, believe me, for all sections. Rajesh spoke about the same thing in Quant. You're stuck on a difficult question. Why are you stuck there? If you can't do it, leave it. Drag yourself away. Go to the next question. It'll probably be more manageable than the previous one. And that practice of dragging away, you'll have to do that in mocks. It's not going to directly happen in the exam. You'll find it very difficult. But in mocks, consciously tell yourself, next time before beginning, I'm not going to get stuck in questions. And then you will see your scores go up. This passage should not have been attempted by most people. The top 2 difficult out of 3 questions are from architecture. The other passages that we have, I don't have all of them here, but if I look at, oh, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, this one, checkout. This was a concrete passage, right? Concrete content about self-checkouts, very easy to understand. Of course, the questions were tricky, but you could have scored 6 out of 12 because you can get the main idea, it's manageable. And 6 out of 12, 9 out of 12 is possible. 6 out of 12 is very possible in this particular passage, and you can quickly do it. There was a passage about adoption, quite smaller in length and also manageable. Free speech was also manageable. Architecture was very difficult. You should have left architecture and moved on. Okay, so that's my biggest tip for VRC as far as passage selection is concerned. Of course, you will get detailed video explanations and all of that. You can look at it. As far as verbal ability is concerned, I think, again, there were questions which were manageable there, right? You should have done round 1 and round 2. So what Rajesh spoke about, right, in Quant, do the same round 1 and round 2 for verbal ability as well. You have 8 questions. In round 1, you solve only the manageable questions and mark for review the time-consuming ones. Leave the difficult ones. In round 2, come back and do the mark for review ones. If you did that in this mock, you could have gotten 4 out of 8. It was manageable. 5, 6 if your skills are good. But 4 out of 8 is 12 marks, which is fantastic, right? So you should definitely do round 1 and round 2 in verbal ability. Okay, so those are my tips. My main tip was around architecture. Of course, some of the questions were tricky. You will see the explanations and all of that. We will release the solutions and percentiles tonight. So you'll get it. If you're a non-2IIM student, we'll email you once it's done. And of course, as 2IIM students, you will get it as well. Okay. Let me see if Rajesh is still around. Rajesh, are you still there?
I'm there.
Okay. There are some questions, Rajesh, if you want to.
I've been answering them on
okay,
chat.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, so I think it's fine. What to do before taking? Sabrish, I think your question was related to, you'd asked a question before as well. I think when you're taking mocks also, right? basic things like make sure you're well fed, well hydrated. Take it at a time where you have reasonably good mindset, not too exhausted. Like coming back home after a very long work day on a Monday and then taking a mock, horrible idea. Right? So avoid those things. Yeah, just like usual things.
I think the question is from Krishnam Sahu, where he's saying, hey, I want to talk about how to prepare for quant outside of arithmetic. The arithmetic thing is a starting point, but algebra is also crucial. You'll have to figure out a way to go to algebra. I think Jatin, I think you need to change the view or something like that, something in the setting.
It's fine on YouTube.
It's fine on YouTube. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Sorry. Lovely. So I think for how to go to algebra from arithmetic, how do I make that transition? I think that's the question from Krishnam Sahu. Again, in algebra, go by the standard hierarchy. Don't jump into polynomials and fancy really difficult stuff. The starting point is linear equation, quadratic equation, lots of time in quadratic equation. Then one layer of perhaps inequalities, then functions. So linear equation, quadratic equation, twice over, thrice over, then inequalities functions, then kind of polynomials and that tougher end of algebra. You can then see if you can include ideas of coordinate geometry and kind of marry the two ideas together. That's the final lab. The sequence is important. The biggest and trickiest part in algebra is quadratic equations. Spend tons of time on that, grab that, put it in the bag, then go towards it. Sai Nishant, sir, I'm facing issues in practicing LRDI, how to improve myself. The best port of call for LRDI to get a sense of what LRDI is about is the previous year questions. So look at previous year mocks and know what is this LRDI about. Then when you're learning in the initial phase, LRDI solutions are the holy grail. Very often I find solutions and I get mildly annoyed by them. They typically say, look, we try out these 6 tables, one of them is right. And like that, sometimes the most intuitive way we solve with is where you'll go and get stuck there and you have to unlock that and then come back. So LRDI learning is about, okay, I went on this track. That's the natural way I will go next time also. And then where do I dump that idea and then come back to my second approach of trying, which is probably the better approach. Sometimes LRDI solutions are like answers. You do this, you do this, you do this, you get the answer, but not intuitive. This is not how students would have approached it. Find good LRDI solutions and try to get into the head of the guy who's explaining that and think, okay, that's what he saw, that's what she saw in that question, and I have to gear myself toward thinking like that. That's all right, it will fall in place. Remember, in LRDI, one set and you're the top 7% of the people, 2 sets and you're the top 1,000 people taking this exam. 1 and you're a rock star, 2 you're a rock star who's also an astronaut. And so proper elite, super elite category. So the benchmark in LRDI is dramatically different. The first thing that you need to do is whatever happens, however difficult it is, can I find that one doable set, take 30 minutes and solve it. You're consistently sure that you can pick up one LRDI set and definitely solve it in any paper. You're through, you're flying. Just keep that in mind. Why can't we release the solutions immediately after the exam gets submitted? Percentile could release later. Good point, Abhitej, Purun, and team will try that. Sometimes our students are taking the exam. They're in the mode of exam taking, and then they want to see the percentile. So it's like exam percentile analysis is how that sequence comes. But I see your point. Maybe next time around we'll say, look, exam and solutions can come together, and then percentile and discussion can come after the window gets over. So we usually think of our mock sessions as Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the test taking window, Tuesday for a kind of discussion and chatting, which is when the solutions also get released. But I see your point. When taking the mock, you want to see the solution immediately, your score immediately, and not worry about the percentile, and maybe even the score can come later, but the solutions can come early. We will keep that in mind. Mock question fonts are a bit smaller. Is it possible to increase the font size? I'm not sure about this. It is fiercely representative. I will check that anyway.
Yeah. And I think also you should be able to zoom in if I'm not wrong, but we'll have to check that. Yeah.
Bharat Raj, with LRDI questions have a if set of questions. Maybe I'm able to attack 3 of them. Should I focus on the 4th? If I fail, I may take a few more minutes, or should I focus on attacking the 2nd? It depends on how much time you are remaining. For me, some LRDI sets, they fall in place in my head. And I'm like, I got this. If I get that feeling, then I'm getting all finite. If time invested in figuring out another set is a pain, and there's always uncertainty. This I have in the bag, I'm going and taking another 3 minutes and getting question number 4 and 5 also right. When should I take the decision of putting an end to the current set? Oh, the $1 million question, Bharat, properly $1 million. I keep telling students, don't set yourself up for flawless decision making. Gear yourself or plan for continuously bouncing back if stuff goes wrong. I think Jatin also mentioned this, that sometimes you don't end up selecting the best passages. You need to learn to kind of, okay, dump it, and then go to the next one and get that right. It's exact same thing for LRDA. So you should have a hard stop. About Jatin mentioned 40% for a passage. For LRDA, it's probably 4 or 5 minutes, not for solving. Nobody's going to solve an LRDA set in 4 or 5 minutes. If in your head, you have cracked the layout. Okay, this is how I'll capture the data. Fiction, non-fiction, English, non-English. This is how my data gets filled in. Then you feel like, look, I got this. Then you carry on. If you've not got the data presentation hierarchy or intuition about a set, you dump it and carry. Don't touch it. Do you encourage using calculator? Oh, if I'm doing 7 into 8, I just plug it in and solve. But if I'm doing 6.2 to 9.5, I'm going to the calculator. It's not an ego thing for me. I'm very happy using the calculator. I'm not getting burnt out. I'm just plugging in and getting the values. But if I go there every time, then I'm losing time. It's tiresome sometimes for continuously sticking with low percentiles. I think you've been tiring, but I leave the verbal faculty to handle that. And for low percentile, set the stage what is required for fueling my prep and motivating myself. Oh, this is very important. This is very important. This is a long journey, friends. Very long journey, ridiculously long, with severely uncertain outcome. It's a pain in the neck to hang in there throughout this journey. And it really helps to prepare with a couple of other guys who are going through that, and they can tell you, "Baap, mera bhi yahi hai. Ye to khatarnak tha ye paper." It's not enough if you hear it from Rajesh and Jatin. You'll have to hear it from your peers, your friends. It helps to prepare with a couple of other guys, no doubt about it, so that you know that you're in the journey together. And sometimes the benchmarks get muddled because of our world that we live in. We always get to hear about the really kick-ass scores over and over again. Remember, the last 2, 3, 4 years, CAT, the paper has been for 198 marks. You get half the marks. You're at 99.5 percentile. You get 60 marks, 63 marks, 1/3 of the mark. You're upwards of 90th percentile. So you should say, look, I want to get 1/3 of the total marks in this paper. That's typically 5, 6 questions right in each section with nothing wrong. Get that and put in the bag. You're the top 10% people. One LRDI set right, 6 or 7 questions in quant, 9 questions in verbal with maybe only 1 or 2 wrong. You're through. You're upwards of 90th percentile, maybe 92, 93, 94 percentile. Just fantastic. And so I reorient your targets like that. Don't worry about getting 110. You shouldn't have that as your benchmark. Get the hang of this. I can tell you there are lots and lots of people who had not got the hang of it till August, September, October, and then it falls in place. Sometimes you just hang in there and wait for the good times. The test of temperament more than a test of intellect. Indefinitely. Why Jatin sir is serious? Oh, we should ask him that.
Yes.
We should ask him.
The question says, is it because of DLR toughness? See,
I didn't see the second part.
One thing I'll tell you, I don't give a beep about DLR. Okay, so I don't care. I'm kidding. I'm a VRC faculty. Rajesh knows. I am very anti-quant and DLR because I feel like it takes away all the glory, and then VRC gets relegated to the 3rd position. So no, I'm kidding. I'm not serious. I was just listening. Maybe that's my listening and paying attention phase. I'd love to know who's this I am winning 17. I have my guesses on who this
Even I have my suspicions. Suspicions.
We'll take that off.
Maybe we will compare notes and then reach out to
Yes.
I'm winning and then have a quiet word.
For sure.
On the June mock is here actually. I think that sometimes I think funnily enough, I think that June mock gave you a room for getting one LRDI set. This one didn't have that. All 4 were time consuming. The June mock, the I think one or two passages were more readable early on. This one, I think, as Jatin said, the architecture passage was probably properly wacky. I think the June mock quant was miserably tough, as in it made you miserable. And by that time you came to quant, probably you had marks in the bag. So there was some energy about the June mock. The July one, the quant was more representative. This is how the quant is going to be. I think this mock, people got tired in the first two sections and didn't really capitalize on how quant would have been. So, any case where students have done wonders in the final exam, even though it's not score, lots of them. This is not to say our mocks are useless or mocks are not necessary. Mocks are a very, very crucial part of preparation. But very often, sometimes it falls in place for the first time quite beautifully in the most meaningful, most required time. And the actual CAT paper is usually much, much better than even the best mocks out there. Some of the CAT papers are better than the best mocks that even 2IIM can offer. I managed to say that with a nice straight face. So some of the actual papers are beautiful. They are very reliable. The language is tight. It is energizing to go through that. Therefore, you're not worrying about is this question right or the wording is ambiguous. Is it the comma here? Does it mean the same thing? So sometimes it is very relaxing and fine to me. Ram minded, I got 52 in CAT 2023, but only 29 in July mock. Can happen. I'm pretty confident that you had another go at the July mock or something like the July mock. We're going to come out with a 60-65 score. I've always been weak in mathematics. This is from Harsh Khurana. Having a lot of trouble. The generic answer is to practice more, but practically possible to try. Oh yeah, definitely. Get arithmetic put in the bag. Have a plan for 5-6 questions in the bag, no matter what. Then add algebra or geometry to the pot. When I say algebra, I mean linear quadratic equation, functions, inequalities, then tougher part of algebra. When I say geometry, trigonometry, mensuration, coordinate geometry. Both of these are good for 5 to 6 questions each. So add one and then the other. Anyone can prepare and have it. What have been an ideal score in this mock if you're targeting around 99th percentile in CAT 2024? Shubhan Shankar, I'm going to hazard a guess. You're looking for about 40 marks in verbal, looking for about 22-23 marks in LRDI, and about 33-34 marks in Quant, adding up to nearly 95-96 marks totally, give or take. That's 99.5 percentile, not just 99 percentile. So it's a kick-ass score, better than the one you're looking for. 40, 23, 33, something like that. Tough. 40 is tough, 23 is tough, 33 is tough. And but you want 99.5. It's obviously going to be tough. When will we expect workshop for Quant? We're definitely going to do it. Probably the first one is going to be in August, and then we'll do more in October. Not sure of what question to skip and what to attend. Keep revisiting the mocks. Keep fine-tuning your decision making very aggressively. It should fall in place sooner or later. Have faith. Abhijit Varunganti, yes, this happens. Sometimes your decision making gets pushed, especially in LRDI. Incredibly tough, my friend. I've had LRDI set which I hang in for 15 minutes and then give up on, and then it turns out that I was right all along. We're getting there. But sometimes I hang on for too long, and I feel like I should have dumped it and gone to another set. It's tough. It's tough. The one thing I would say is if you've got beaten up in this paper after a bad LRDI, then your temperamental thing, you're letting your LRDI affect your Quant. If you're very close in LRDI, I can tell you, the guys, all of you who are good enough to get one set light in LRDI, you're good enough to get 30 marks in this Quant. If you tried and failed in LRDI and finally got only 3 questions right, you got only 9 marks, and you're cursing yourself silly and end up getting 14 marks in Quant, and you would have to have a good, long, hard look at yourself for your Quant performance, not your LRDI performance. And so this kind of mock is very much the mock where you say, LRDI to gaya, ab Quant ki to I'll have a go at it. And that is a very, very, very important lesson through the mock side. And over to you, Jatin.
No, I have nothing else to add, except that, like whoever has given the mock, 2IIM, non-2IIM student, the solutions and percentiles will be out. Please take time to analyze the mock. That is the most important thing. That is how you'll learn. Typically, a mock analysis should take double the amount of time of the mock. So a 2-hour mock should take 4-hour analysis. Should be a 4-hour thorough analysis, and you can break it up. You don't have to do it in one stretch, but definitely analyze. Think about question selection. I think we are in July. You should be honing your question selection skills now. That is one of the most important parts of giving a mock. So be very, very, like when you're analyzing, be very sort of meticulously sort of analyze. Did I pick up the right question? Did I leave the right questions, or did I leave a freebie? Did I get stuck on a question? I think you need to be very sort of careful in analyzing that, and then make notes. Take notes in an error log so that you can improve in the subsequent mocks. Okay, fantastic, folks. I think that's it from us. All the very best. Stay tuned. I mean, we might have more All India mocks. Of course, we've got a test series as well. If you're a non-2IIM student, our team should send the link. We have a test series. Fantastic. We have 26 mocks in that test series, plus a lot of other practice questions and a lot of other good stuff. So, if you want to sign up for that, definitely sign up. And if we have a next All India mock, we'll let you know. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon next time. Bye.